It says I'm live. There we go. Nice and bright. All righty. Hi there, and welcome to this day in history for January the 2nd. January the 2nd already. Calendar with 363 days remaining to the end of the year. 364th if it happens to be a leap year, which this is not, but there you go. All righty. Today's word is cliffhanger. Cliffhanger is a noun that refers to a plot device wherein the story is left in a difficult or precarious situation, usually to incentivize the audience to return to see how the character will resolve the drama. Cliffhangers have been used as literary devices for hundreds of years and, of course, easily made the transition to movies and television. Serial shows that are closing on a cliffhanger will often end with the phrase, "to be continued." And then the following episode typically begins with a recap sequence. The actual term cliffhanger is considered to have originated with a serialized story in a magazine in the 1870s where the protagonist was actually left hanging on a cliff. Yikes. Oh, that'd sure make you want to come back and see how is he going to get out of that problem. So there's cliffhanger. I'd like to take a moment to mention that links to my research are included in the show notes. I ask you to go ahead and click that like button. Consider subscribing if you haven't already. Feel free to share this video with others with the link in your email, messaging, or social media. And while the comments are turned off during the live, you'll certainly be able to freely comment once the video goes up for replay. And I'll be interested in your thoughts. Also, there is a link in the show notes to my This Day in History playlist. It's in the show notes right now. And I'll put a link up in the iCards there for you also. Alrighty, and with that, we've talked before about the year of four emperors in the days of the Roman Empire. Servius Galba was the first of those four, and he actually began his rule in the year 68. Unfortunately, it didn't take long for Galba to alienate the wrong people, and on January 2nd in the year 69, January 2nd, some of the Roman legions under his rule refused to swear loyalty to him. Not only that, but they rebelled and proclaimed someone else to be their emperor of choice. They wanted Aulus Vitellius to be their emperor. Turns out Galba was so bad that he was killed by the Praetorian Guard just 7 months into his reign. And the very day that Galba was assassinated, the Roman Senate named Marcus Salvius Otho to be his successor as emperor, the second in the year of four emperors. Otho was ambitious and greedy, but apparently didn't show himself to be quite the tyrant that some of his predecessors had been. So they thought he would be a reasonable, suitable ruler. They thought he would make a decent emperor. Otho had issues of his own, though, and there was still that matter of the Roman legions having declared Vitellius as their emperor. Otho went off to try to defeat Vitellius, but that didn't work out very well for him, and Otho committed suicide rather than continue fighting. Vitellius was then proclaimed as emperor, the third in the year of four emperors. And of course, Vitellius inherited the problems of the empire that had plagued Galbus and Otho, plus a few others besides, and some additional problems that he created for himself with his decisions and actions. And I was going to finish the narrative at this point. But here we are at Emperor number 3 of 4 in the year of 4 emperors, and it felt a little bit like a cliffhanger to me. So I'll go ahead and at least tell you what happened to Vitellius and how the next emperor came along. So the more things went badly for Vitellius, the more he tried to manipulate people and situations, and very little of his machinations were going the way that he wanted, and he went into hiding. He was just getting ready to skip town, but he just had to go back to the palace one more time. And Vespasian's men caught up with him and killed him. Things were pretty wild in those days. With Vitellius out of the way, the Senate declared Vespasian emperor, and they did that the next day. With Vitellius out of the way, the Senate declared Vespasian emperor the next day. So I am relieved to see that things did settle down a bit once Vespasian became emperor, and he was a pretty good emperor. He became the founder of an era known as the Flavian dynasty, and it was a stable rulership. Now look, here's how good of a ruler Vespasian was. He died of natural causes about 9.5 years later when he was 69 years old. Not assassinated, not suicided. He died of natural causes. So Vespasian and his sons Titus and Domitian are known as the Flavians. We've talked about Domitian for sure, I know. Maybe Titus, I don't remember. But they're known as the Flavians, and they ruled one after the other for about 27 years altogether until the year 96. Several significant historic, economic, and military events took place during the reign of the Flavian dynasty, and it goes on from there. So it goes on from there, and so shall we. Now, I mentioned it last year, but I think it's worth mentioning again that Georgia became the fourth state to ratify the United States Constitution on January the 2nd, 1788. The British Institution of Civil Engineers was founded on January 2nd, 1818. They're an independent professional association for civil engineers based in London, England, but they do have members from more than 150 countries. The ICE supports, that's ICE for Institution of Civil Engineers, the ICE supports civil engineering profession by offering professional qualification, promoting education, and maintaining professional ethics, among other things. They do more than even just that. Looks like a pretty good outfit to be a member of if you're a civil engineer or aspiring to be. Now, I don't remember mentioning this in last year's episode. A spacecraft called Luna 1, the first spacecraft to reach the vicinity of the moon and orbit the sun, was launched by the Soviet Union on January 2nd, 1959. Former movie star Ronald Reagan was sworn in as governor of California on January 2nd, 1967. Federal rules of evidence were approved by the United States Congress on January 2nd, 1975. This was an act to codify or put into code or specify more clearly evidence law that applies in United States federal courts. In addition, many states have adopted the federal rules of evidence with or without local variations. Now, I took up a bit of time talking about the year of 4 emperors today, so I think we're going to wrap it up here now. If you'd like to hear about some of the other things that happened on January 2nd throughout history, along with a bunch of birthdays, I mean a bunch of birthdays, by the way. Happy birthday, Caitlin. Bunch of birthdays. I encourage you to check out the link to last year's episode. I'll put that up in the iCards right about here. It's not up there yet, but I'll get it put up there for the replay as soon as the live is finished. Meanwhile, I hope you learned something you didn't know before. I know I sure did. I always do. Let's see what else. Yep, there's the synopsis. There's the hashtags. All righty. Thanks for watching. Be sure and give it a like if you enjoyed this video. Consider subscribing if you haven't already. You know you can share this video with others with a link in your email messaging. And I'll see you next time.